And we are back. Gmac and Winnie coming at you with another edition of the Outlaw Blitz podcast. Big fella, let's get dangerous.
Just double checking. We don't want another repeat occurrence of last week.
No, listen.
Let's get dangerous. I mean, what's dangerous?
I don't know.
My drive over here was mildly dangerous.
A little turtle head poking out.
Oh yeah, prairie dogging.
Yeah.
Beautiful day. Another Outlaw win. It's fall, man. This is my favorite time of the year. It gets no better than this.
Yeah.
And I got a Jet 405 game coming. How am I looking?
You were like way out of center of the camera, so I had to straighten it up.
All better?
Yeah.
Yeah, just it's Sunday, dude. Trying to enjoy a day off.
Yeah, no, that's a big one this week is a day off.
Yeah.
3 out of 5 days I had non-voluntary overtime. So
yeah.
Yeah, I just want to tell some of our listeners, if for some reason you don't get it on Spotify or whatever, even though we record the show, we pre-record the show to be out on Thursdays.
Right.
I do not release. Now we do it on video. We go live on video for the last few weeks, maybe or so. Quote unquote live.
Right.
But I release it Thursday. I usually schedule it Thursday at 12:30. You can catch it on our YouTube channel,
and
Outlaw Blitz, Twitch, Outlaw Blitz, and our personal Facebook page, Outlaw Blitz.
Right.
And our personal page. You can catch the show.
You can't comment live.
You can't comment, or people comment live, but yeah,
Matt Russell.
It's scheduled for 12:30 because some people. I want to keep it fair for our listeners that listen at, on Spotify or something.
Right.
But if you don't want your visuals ruined, because I don't know if you've ever done that. Have you ever listened to somebody's voice on the radio and then you're like, you get a picture of what they would look like in your mind?
Right. Yeah.
And then you see them and you're like, what the fuck? So if you don't want that ruined, then don't watch the video. But if you do, you want to see what we look like because you may not know.
It's a weird thing. Most of our people that listen local would rather listen to it on the podcast,
but they know us personally,
right? And I think that's probably why. And a lot of our local listeners it drops at 12 and at 12:05.
Yeah, or on the way into work,
right?
They get
the next
through
morning.
The next day, people listen half to work and then half after.
Right.
But usually by like Thursday afternoon or Friday evening, the messages start coming in and the comments start coming on.
I was going to say, Matt Russell. That is not live when you watch. It is not live when you watch it on Thursdays.
Yeah.
So
you got to single him out.
Stop blowing up our phones with penis and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. But have you ever had somebody that you listen to and you had this vision of them worked up in your head? Then you see the real person. You're like, the voice doesn't match.
Right.
Doesn't even make sense. Bob and Sherry.
Totally Bob and Sherry.
Like Bob, I always figured being tall, nerdy, whatever.
Yeah, that's pretty right.
But Sherry, I thought she'd be like kind of sexy, like ish. You know what I mean? Like maybe like reddish hair, but something about her that like grabbed you. And I was like, really? Major letdown.
That's not to say Sherry's an ugly woman.
No. But like her voice,
right,
is like
super sexy voice.
Yeah. And she has this like. Like her personality. See, that's the difference. Is if you didn't know somebody like that, like that's how shallow people are.
Yeah.
Like by looks.
Right.
On the air, you kind of get their personality. Right. So you're like, man, she's got this great personality. She sounds kind of sexy. Then you're like, that's not lining up to like what I would physically find attractive.
Just remember, this is a lot of personality here.
Oh,
both sides of the table.
Is it ever? But the guy in that camera right here with the red on, he is an ugly fuck compared to what he used to be.
He's still a sexy scumbag.
Yeah, maybe.
Fucked up week on the Winnie's front here. Winnie boys had bad back-to-back days.
Both?
Yeah, Chris. So I'm at the doctor's office Thursday morning, 8:00, the ass crack of dawn.
Yeah.
For my physical. He calls me. I literally have a fucking needle in my arm.
Yeah.
As they're taking 7 vials of blood.
Oh, you're a bitch.
And I'll call you right back. All right, fine. He hangs up. I get out of the office, call him back. I'm like, what's going on? Car broke down. So what do you mean? He said, I think it's a transmission. I said, fuck. So I'll be
His
right,
car.
Right. So I'll be right there. I drove up. He was stuck over by the antique place on 9W. Wait an hour and change for the local tool company to get there. He had AAA.
Mm-hmm.
Brings it to a shop in Kingston, waiting to hear the worst. So Friday comes. He texts me. I got stuck the night before. He texts me. I wake up to the text. It was only an axle.
Mm-hmm.
$450. Good to go.
Cool.
But 157,000 miles on it, 10 years old.
But he's got a Honda or something, doesn't he?
Not a Honda.
That's a good car.
And right now, he's at a point where he still has good resell if he wants to trade it in.
Right.
So he's going to look. Then I'm at work, and 11:30, I get a text from Christina, an accident, car accident. The type of text you never, ever want to get.
No, I know. But then that was not bad.
No, thank God.
Shitty situation, but it literally, he popped a little bit of a fender.
Well, that's I want to say Jeff popped it back in a little bit so he could drive it home.
Yeah.
Because it was hanging pretty low. So I go to Northern Duchess, hang out with them. I met his girlfriend finally. I was like, this is not the way I envisioned meeting you, but nice to meet you. So banged up and sore, but x-rays on her leg.
Well, that was just ankle. What she did to him from behind with the peg.
That's great. Her x-rays came out good. He was fine, just banged up.
Well, so. He wasn't really the issue. She was the one that got banged up.
Yeah, right? He was jostled around a bit, but her leg hit the dashboard.
Oh,
because she's a tiny little thing.
Because was she in the passenger seat?
Yeah.
Well, that happens.
So both checked out okay.
Good, man.
Car can be fixed.
That's good.
It is what it is.
Yeah, listen, that's material shit.
Right.
The personal stuff, right. Your body, you only get one of them.
The ability to walk in, and he was waiting just inside the.
So not for nothing,
door.
They had like a C day. It wasn't an F day. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
You had kind of like but they both ended up being okay.
Right.
The cars were manageable. He could still drive his.
They were solid.
Chris got an axle. It wasn't a whole transmission.
Right.
Like, yeah.
They were D's that turned into like C's.
Yeah.
Maybe C pluses.
Yeah.
At the end of the day. So it's just funny. And I joked with Max. I said, that's 3 for 3 in the last month between my car, now your brother's, now yours.
Oh, yeah.
We've all had something happen.
Yeah, boom,
so
boom,
hopefully
boom,
it's out of the way. But other than that, other than being dog fucking tired towards the end of the week.
Yep.
I know you're there too. And guess what? We get started all over again tomorrow.
Yeah, well, that's the the cycle that we're on, right?
You were onto something before. I mean, maybe we should be feet models.
Yeah, no. I mean, I actually don't have bad feet. I don't. And I hate feet.
I hate feet too.
But I've actually had women tell me you got decent feet. They're not all banged up. Not, you know what I mean?
I think there's a foot for everybody. So maybe somebody out there likes bunions and.
Yeah, but I don't know about all that. But that BGS is going on that gay whatever.
Oh, the bear,
the bear fighter. House. Yeah. Yeah, he is. And when all of a sudden he starts like, we got new studio equipment because of BGS.
Right, we know what he's doing.
Yep, he is.
He'll be on a billboard.
He's all about it. Dude. I could. Oh my God! Tell me you can't see this. BGS in a pair of like tightish work pants and a wife beater, like a black wife beater with a hard hat on. He'd have every gay dude from fucking Maine to Miami giving him money every month.
Listen, I'll give it to Sal.
He's not a bad looking guy.
Sal's a good looking guy, and I always forget he's as much older than us as he is because we've all got kids.
Well, he's got that, and his hair on his head is not gray.
Right. And honestly,
his beard is gray, but funny. If he shaved his beard, he'd be fine.
If you looked at his goatee too, if he trimmed the sides and made it to like the point, like the devil's point, it's all black in the middle.
Yeah, it is.
So, he's got a better hair situation than both of us.
Yeah.
So,
he's gonna go. I'm telling you, he's gonna go. He's gonna do it.
He may.
BGS is If all of a sudden, he's that guy that lives close to the vest, like all of us divorced guys.
Right.
If all of a sudden he's got money thrown around, and what's happening.
Like a wise man once said, and getting into to preview our top 5, somebody once was quoted as saying, $20 is $20.
Yeah. Hey, shit, $20 is $20. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, for Sal, 100%.
Yeah. Only Bears.
The Outlaws win.
Ian, you fuck.
Ian, you fuck. The Outlaws win.
Yep.
What was it, 1912 today?
1912. A lot of sampling today. They were just testing some
Yeah,
stuff
they were
out.
doing some stuff. You and I were talking a little bit up there while the game was going on.
I'd rather put them
There's a position
away early.
Yeah. Do your testing out stuff in live situations a little differently. Like, you can't let people know that they can hang with you. You got to stomp them down, and then you do your stuff. It's not a good. You don't want to get in bad habits right now, this late in the year.
Right.
I get it. Get in there big, and hey, if the quarterback's got to come out for a couple plays, you need somebody else to do it.
Sure.
But you don't do that in a 6-0 game or a 6-6 game, or you don't try that now.
Yeah. And
you got to still treat it like a game, even though it was a non-league game.
And they're good enough to be. They could have been up 18 or 24-0 at the half.
Yeah,
no problem.
That one little player, 32, was great.
Right.
And catch. He made. I wish I would have videoed. That was some catch that kid made.
ESPN play the day type catch.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very
from like catch. An 8-year-old.
Yeah.
Backpedaling,
off balance,
off the face mask.
Yeah, off
people
the face
draped
mask
on
and security,
and then grabbed it again.
Yeah, it's cool.
And while going to the ground.
Right.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal play. And the Saugerties Outlaws parents cheered for that play.
You have to.
You have to.
Yeah.
Like, even all the years we coached, if somebody made a good play, I always tell them good play. That was, hey, good play.
Listen, we've stopped many a player
after
on the other team on the field and say, hey, listen, you had one heck of a game today.
Yeah, on the handshake line, yeah. We won 42-0 on the. Well, not we. The modified team beat Rond out 42-0 last Wednesday. They play this Wednesday at New Paltz. It's so weird to see because we were all the dads were up there in the section. We're like, man, we're playing like shit today. But you win 42-0.
Right.
But we weren't playing our best.
Right.
It's weird, like what they're truly capable of versus where they played. You're like kind of like, really?
Well, it's funny because you get those days of bend don't break defense.
Yeah.
Offense is grinding more than thriving.
Yeah.
So you still come out on top, but you're like, man, it came off as a B effort or a C effort when really, look at the scoreboard, like shit.
Right. And people are like, so a couple times they would get free in the middle of the field for like big chunks of yards. And I'm like, we're getting killed in the middle of the field.
Right.
People are like, at the time, they're like, George, 28-0. I go, that's not the point.
No, you got to.
The point is what happens when another team and it's 0-0 is killing you in the middle of the field. Yeah. You got to figure it out. People haven't been getting to our middle of the field.
Right.
Now that they do, once they get past the scrum, we're chasing.
Right.
You don't want to be chasing.
Everything you want to have everything you want in front of you at all times.
Right. Right. So, you can't just go in there and be like, well, we won 42-0. That's on to the next. Yeah, it's on to the next, but you got to clean up the shit you missed.
Right. There's always improving to be done.
Right. And then when they got Osfeld in at linebacker in the fifth quarter, that extra quarter, it shored back up. That's where we're kind of lacking.
You said he played really well.
Oh, dude, he's a great linebacker. He is a great linebacker. He's a really good linebacker.
He is.
So, it's just that thing. You got to get rolling. You got to get your guys going downhill and situated. So,
yeah.
And he shores up the middle linebacker. You know what I mean? But it's also, you can't send them on a gangster blitz every fucking time either.
No, you got to mix it up.
Right.
I mean, there's a time and place for everything.
Or send him and drop the DN who's like a decent middle linebacker. He's just not fast.
Right.
So, do the old rotation. Send a trail blitz and then drop the DN to the middle of the field.
Sure. Have him just cover the center.
Right. Just in case.
To be there.
Just in case it misses.
Yep.
So let's work into our top 5. This week's top 5. I said top 5 inspirational or favorite quotes.
Yes. This was thought-provoking but fairly easy at the same time. You want to lead it off?
I have honorable mentions, but we'll do them at the end.
Okay.
My number 5, and this is crazy. It's on a sign, and it's on a sign pretty much in every national park. And I feel, me personally, I feel it's the most accurate sign in the history of mankind. Don't feed the bears.
Okay.
And if you think about it in human sense, why don't they want you to feed the bears?
Because it's going to attract them.
It's going to attract. It's going to keep them around, but it's also going to make them where they don't rely on their own instincts to gain food for themselves.
Right.
So it's no different than when you feed people in the street. I'm not saying people that are down on their luck. When you feed generations of people, and then they have no desire to go get a job
because they've become dependent
upon it. Right. Don't feed the bears. It's probably one of the most accurate, favorite. That's like probably one of my favorite quotes because it covers so many levels.
Okay. My number 5, I'm going to actually open it up with the Ultimate Warrior.
Okay.
Jim Hellwig. If you remember him as a wrestler, his promos were usually nonsense. If you listen to them, he was hyped up and talking about outer space and all this weird shit. Day before he dies, the man appears on Monday Night Raw, right after the Hall of Fame. And he says this, and knowing that he died not 12 hours later. Every man's heart one day beats its final beat. His lungs breathe their final breath. And if what a man did in his life makes the blood pulse through the body of others and makes them bleed deeper than something larger than life, then his essence, his spirit, will be immortalized by the storytellers, by the loyalty, by the memory of those who honor him and make him the running the man did live forever.
You butchered the end of that.
I did, but it's pretty much about a man making his mark on the world.
Yeah.
And to know...
So how close he was to whatever end it was.
In 48 hours, the culmination of what was his career, and he died.
Mm-hmm.
Was amazing.
Right, like where he should have been enjoying some of the accolades late because he was kind of like outcasted.
Right.
And then he has this great speech in Raw, standing in the ring, sweating bullets, looking great.
Looking terrible.
Yeah. Not like when you look back at it, he looked terrible.
But you look at him and he's there with his wife, his daughters.
He had his peace, I think.
He was happy.
Yeah.
He came home and made peace.
Yeah.
And then that was it.
Yep.
So,
number 4. This was a favorite of my dad's. And it was like when you got, when people criticize you or you do this or you try to start a business or whatever, and people always have something to say. He said, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
That's true.
And it was highly accurate. Opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one. You could be doing great things and somebody's going to have something to say. It's just the way it was.
Right.
Somebody would try to rain on your parade just because.
Yeah.
No matter what. You could have done everything right. You could have been a fucking conquering hero. And some asshole would say, why did he save 5 people and not the 6th one that, was fucking disintegrated? Whatever it was.
Why did he give everybody steak dinner and not lobster too?
Right, yeah. Yep.
All right, my number 4, the Iron Horse, Lou Gehrig. For the past 2 weeks, you've been reading about a bad break, yet today I consider myself the luckiest man on the face of the earth.
Yeah, that's pretty crazy for a guy that they named a disease after to say that he's the luckiest man on earth. But at that time, that's probably one of the all-time greatest speeches to hear,
Yeah, and you got it doesn't sound the same without the echo.
Right. Echo. Yeah.
But to know that the man knew that, I don't think he knew he was dying yet because it was just being discovered. Obviously, and after him, knew that something was wrong. But to be able to sit there and reflect and consider himself lucky. Yep. It's amazing.
All right, my number 3. Hard times create strong men. Strong men create good times. Good times create weak men. Weak men create hard times.
Okay.
It's a cycle.
It is.
I think we're in the weak men creating hard times right now.
Hard to argue.
World War II was hard men creating hard times creating strong men.
Right. And
then the strong men from World War II created the good times that was probably like, the 70s and 80s, like that kind of time, generations.
Right.
And then those good times created the 80s and 90s, whatever, created the weak men that are now.
Entitled.
Right.
The soft.
The 20 to 30 something generation, the millennial generation. And now we're the weak men creating hard times.
And again, not all, but there's a
majority right
that are in power or influential that are creating the shit we have now. So.
So I was on my number 3.
Okay, my number 3. Martin Luther King. The ultimate measure of a man is not where he stands in moments of comfort and convenience, but where he stands at times of challenge and controversy.
Very good quote. Very good quote. Very, it's a great quote.
What you're made of.
Right here, anybody can be a certain person when all things are going right, but who are you when it's not going good?
Exactly. That's when you know who somebody really is.
Yep. Number 2. From the movie Vision Quest, he goes to see his buddy that it's an older guy he works with at a hotel. Mm-hmm. And he goes to see, he's kind of just going around. He doesn't know what's going to happen to him. He's going out to wrestle like the defendant state champion, blah, 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 that he called out that he wanted to go wrestle. So he's kind of just going to talk to people like before he goes to the match that night. And he goes to the hotel and his buddy's not there. Older cook. Took the night off. So he knocks on his door and he goes in and he's talking to him and he's like, yo, you never take the night off. Whatever. And he goes, it's just a lousy 6 minutes. And that guy goes, it's not about the 6 minutes. It's what happens in that 6 minutes. And that was just like, that little bit of thing.
Right.
And my senior quote is a version of that. It's not about how much time, it's what you do in that time.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter if it's 6 minutes, 10 years, 20 years, 50, whatever. But you make it count.
Right.
It's not about like, oh, it's a measly 6 minutes. It's not the 6 minutes.
Right.
It's what you do in that 6 minutes.
Don't waste it.
Don't waste it. You got your shot.
Yeah.
Here's your opportunity. Number 2.
Jim Valvano. Don't give up. Don't ever give up. And that's what I'm going to try to do every minute that I have left. I will thank God for the day and the moment that I have.
The Jimmy
V's speech when he was dying of cancer, and he knew it was near the end. And every year the Jimmy V Foundation still has their special on ESPN to honor him. And it's powerful. It's powerful to the fact it's relevant in everybody's life. And ESPN and the sports world helps keep that message going forward. So,
yep. Number 1, it's my favorite quote. I read a book many years ago, and it just kind of was. I don't know. I have 3 kids. I have 2 daughters and a son. So your daughters. It's dad. That's your dad. It's a father-daughter relationship's always one thing. A father-son. I didn't have a great relationship with my dad, so I didn't know. You know what I mean? The things I craved from him, I didn't necessarily get. He didn't talk to me, and this was different, right? It was a different time. They spoke to you in a different way. So,
here's another difference between you and I is the ages of our fathers.
Yeah,
your father was from the generation
prior to
just before mine.
Yeah,
he was older.
Your dad's what, like 60 something right now?
My dad's 65.
My dad would have been 81 right now.
Right.
So, So it's just the generation outside of it, right? So we didn't have that relationship or whatever. So when my son started doing things and playing sports, and he was a young kid, so every single game or wrestling match or whatever he does. Before every single game from the time he was 7 years old, still to today, every time, I send him a message that says, I love you, have fun, do your best, and no matter what happens out there, I'm proud of you. Because I was reading a book at the time, and it just hit home. And that wasn't the quote. They were just kind of saying, like, how many dads, like, try to relive their youth through their kid, or how many dads are always about the negative or or the positive, and either way.
Right.
And I always just try to tell them, listen, that's the message. Hey, listen, I love you. Have fun. Have fun out there. Do your best. These are just things that you say. And then that last part, no matter what happens, win or lose. And I mean, that's what it means. Win, lose,
draw,
whatever.
Anything.
It doesn't matter. I'm proud of you. But do your best. These are things that you got the full support of you, that you can go out there and not feel like, oh my God, is my dad going to say, or is my whatever?
Right.
Just do you. Well, I'm here to support you. That's it.
Yeah.
And that's how it stays. Like we don't get like that. Every single game day, if he shows you his phone, it's the same message. And it doesn't matter if it's baseball, wrestling, football, does not matter. And if he had a phone for the last 7 years, he's 14 years old, it would be
the same all
the
time.
would every single game.
That's cool.
So that's my number one it will be. It will be until I'm not here anymore.
Right. I think what's funny is you'd said, you're really short with your dad, and we'll talk more later when we get into the other segment, but football for me was the one sport my dad didn't play.
Right.
So I never felt that pressure to live up to anything.
Right. So it was the outlet because he played baseball and he was a decent baseball player.
And he was. And that's
and
probably
then
why
you're like, and then you had this thing like.
And bowling too.
Right.
So that was the one sport where he couldn't tell me what to do.
Because and you enjoyed it that much more.
I did.
Right.
I did. My number one, I could not have an Elvis quote. He received it was a JC's award one year, I think in the early 70s.
Whatever happened to the JC's?
I know. But his quote was this: I learned very early in life that without a song, the day would never end. Without a song, a man ain't got a friend. Without a song, the road would never bend. Without a song, so I keep singing the song. Thanks. Good night.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
it's accurate. It's accurate.
It's his life.
Yeah. I do have two honorable mentions. One is the best friends tell you the truth that other people lie about.
It's true.
No matter how mad you get at them.
Yeah.
And we've had this on a personal level.
Absolutely.
And I'm like, you can fucking be mad at me, bro, but I'm telling you what everybody else will never say.
Right.
And that's where I get that a lot of that. You either love me or hate me. There's no in the middle.
Yep.
But that's a lot of it. That's that quote. And the other one, and I know it's kind of corny because I'm putting it in. It's my own personal quote, and I came up with it on the fly in Tennessee.
Okay.
They put us in the lion's den. You know the rest? They didn't know the lions getting killed.
That's right. And dude, that was so monumental that day.
And then after the game, we killed the lion.
We did kill the lion.
That was what the quote was.
Yeah.
We got in that big huddle.
We killed the lion.
Yep. Yeah.
So.
Do you have any honorable mentions?
Take it deep.
Oh yeah, that's our tagline. Basically.
It is, and I'm gonna give credit since he did pass this week. Chris Howe was one of the first ones to be saying it, and definitely kept it alive for all the years he was.
Joe was
another big take it deep guy, but that's our tagline, and give them guys some credit for it. And there's so many good ones out there. There really are.
Well, I just did the honorable mentions.
And I did have one other.
Okay.
Play like a champion today.
Notre Dame.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's stuff you kind of go by. Like, you see the difference. Like, yours, you went kind of, like inspirational more, and I went more like things that just kind of stuck out in my head that
make sense every day.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely.
No, it's good to hear, and I know BGS is big on that hard times create strong men. Yes. Joe Rogan did Reddit,
right? And
a lot of people clung to it, but that's a very accurate, very very accurate quote. We ready for crazies?
Sure.
Five crazy questions via the Winsky.
Yep, and to follow last week's format. So Coog, if you're watching, this will be another. We won't do it again after this week.
Oh boy!
But want to follow up. So I'm trying to the order I want to do these in. I'm gonna save that for last. All right. So number one. What do you consider your greatest attribute?
Putting people together. I think I can put the right people together. I can read people, you know that. I see people. I see a lot of things other people miss.
Right.
But I think putting the right person, and I don't mean like in a relationship. I mean like putting a coaching staff together, putting temperaments together, putting
A team.
teams together, having somebody who can add something without taking someone away or sanding off rough edges of certain people. You know, like you get certain people in the right spots, and I just feel like that's my biggest attribute. Like
Okay.
I can help, like this here. This is a Highland show. George just has brains to make it operate.
I disagree. I disagree. You always undersell yourself. I don't know. There's the meat and the potatoes, and I think you're the meat. I'm the side dish that helps make it all.
I'm the meat, thanks.
You're the meat. I'm the side dish that kind of brings it all and makes it a nice complete plate. This is you, man. You run this shit. I couldn't.
Yeah, but this is built. This is built for your world. I'm just more like producer side of it.
I think we're.
But it pans out just because of our personality.
Yeah, I think, and that's when our friendship. I think that's how we play off each other.
I'm definitely getting them different headphones, bro.
Yeah,
the in-ear ones.
Oh, okay. Number 2. Now we talked about what is your greatest attribute. What do you feel is your greatest flaw?
Too honest at times. Like, too honest and too full of shit at times. I lie to myself, and I'm too honest when there's definitely situations I shouldn't be.
Do you want to? Oh, man, I don't know that honesty. I don't know if that's a bad thing. Maybe is it presentation?
Maybe. You want to know the truth? Biggest flaw. I make too many excuses. I'm fat. There's no reason for me to be fat. I'm fat. I can tell you a million things. Oh, I worked overnights for 8 years. I did this. I did that. No, I'm lazy. I'm fat.
We don't get this way by not doing it to ourselves. You're 100% right.
Right. Like, I look back, I can say X, Y, and Z. My ex-wife was X, Y, and Z. No, I was a shitty husband. Flat up. I was a terrible husband. I just wasn't, not that I'm not a good person, but I wasn't a good husband.
There's difference. I know what you're saying.
Like, there's things I could have done way better, and been way better of a person.
Absolutely, but yeah,
but there's no doubt. My biggest regret is going to be my biggest flaw. The person I could have been is nowhere near the person I am, and that takes a lot of personal growth to get to that. And I'm not there. I'm not there. And I think the fact that I know I'm not there, it's kind of like what leads to some of this. Like, I eat a lot of my feelings.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Me and Preston joked about it a lot with something else about eating your feelings. But it's you end up resorting to
self-harm,
instant gratification,
or another form of self-harm to make yourself feel outwardly like you feel inwardly.
You want to take yourself out of the moment, so you actually do something that brings you more into the moment.
Yeah.
So it's a method of self-destruction that it's tough to get out of.
Right. I lie to myself. I can look in the mirror and fucking, yeah, you look good. Yeah, you didn't do that. And it's bullshit. I did. And I know deep down I did. So now you see what it is.
Well, oh my God.
Well, if that was 1 and 2, what's 3?
Three's a little bit easier, I think. What is one thing you think people have wrong about you? Set the record straight.
Oh, I definitely think people. I think people think I'm a lot. I think people think I'm a lot worse of a person if you really knew me. If you see me from it's like you see somebody from a distance and you see whatever they just don't like you. You're too loud. You're too direct. You're too opinionated. You're too whatever.
Sure.
But if you ever just sat and actually talked to me, I'm very open to talking and to working through stuff.
Right.
Like I may be like, man, that guy's a fucking dick, but that guy sits down and talks to me. There's got to be common ground.
Right.
There's common ground somewhere.
See, you're a better. This is where I'm going to say, easily, you're a better person than I am, in the fact that I hold grudges a lot longer.
Yeah.
And there's shit I just won't let go.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen you work past that shit with people. I would say knowing you, knowing who your dad was, knowing your mom, your directness, I think is like, and you said it before, a lot of times is what people may be like, oh fuck, he's an asshole. But if you could get, it's almost putting the cart before the horse. If you can get to the question, if you could really analyze the question, then look at the answer that you would give, people would say, man, he's really not an asshole. He's just being truthful.
Right.
And it's a lot of times it's presentation.
Well, and that's a lot like with that question, with that quote I said before, where friends tell you the truth that others lie about.
Right.
Whether you're a friend or not, I'm going to say whatever my version of the truth is. And if I'm not right, I'll say I'm wrong.
Right.
But a lot of people don't want to hear that, and they don't want to know that. They don't want to know, oh, well, you said this. Yeah, I did. But here's X, Y, and Z why I said it.
Yeah.
You know, and
if people came to me and said, you know, what would you do before I embark on a starting a relationship with George? I think I would say, if you're looking for a yes guy, you're going to the wrong guy, because you're going to be factual. What
does just saying yes ever make better?
Nothing. Nothing in the world.
It doesn't.
Ever.
It doesn't. You're in a constant cycle of this isn't right, and I don't want to hear how we fix it.
Right.
Like, let's have some options.
You would truly be a bad friend by doing that. And there are too many people out there that do that. So it's a level of caring, and you really see.
I've lost friends for periods of time to ultimately come back to me and say they were sorry. Right. I was the only one that said it.
Right.
When everybody else thought it.
Right. And I want to turn this humorous too, because you said shit in, like, not to say crunch time, but in like stressful times that is fucking hysterical because it's true. Yeah. We've been there.
Yeah.
But all right, number 4. Your children are your life.
Yep.
Anybody that knows you knows that. It's unquestioned. If they could cumulatively tell a funny story about you with them that would capture your spirit, what do you think it would be?
Oh, I don't know. It'd have to be something in Cape Cod, I would imagine. Something, just to probably the story they would all tell. We go to the Brazilian grill.
The Libyans.
This wasn't with you though. This was
okay.
This was more recently.
Okay.
We go to the Brazilian grill, and we eat like you eat there.
You can.
Yeah.
It's going to come back up.
And I got a serious case of the meat sweats. I mean, we're back at the pool, and I got a serious case of the meat sweats.
Oh my God.
And in typical George fashion, the pool is packed. I take off my shirt and I walk past all the people and I go, get your cameras out. You don't have to go whale watching because great white's going in right here. And I flop into the pool to get rid of my meat sweats.
Oh my God. That's good.
Yeah. That, or the time you were, I think, with us when I was in, and I mean, it's disgusting. It really is disgusting. We're in the pizza place right there by Mariners Motor Lodge, right there, that Taki's Pizza.
Yeah. And
we're sitting there and we're waiting for our pizza. And I sit in the booth and I rip the loudest fart. And then tell Summer, say excuse me. Like
you've done that a few times.
Yeah,
that's a good one.
Yeah, she's like, Dad. But just I try to make light of bad situations. Like you have to.
Yeah.
Because if you keep it in the dark, that shit'll eat you.
Yeah.
And it'll keep eating you.
Yeah.
And I can't live with that baggage, man. I just can't. I got enough of my own shit
that
I can't live with other baggage, and I can't let other baggage do it. My own personal inner demons, I can't.
Yeah.
Others.
All right.
What'd you say? The best for last? Jesus.
I did. All right. And I'm going to preface this.
Just say it, bro.
Don't
worry about it.
No. I'm prefacing this by I want a certain vision in your head before I ask the question.
Okay.
Perfect time would be the night we were out cutting numbers.
Yeah.
Your dad comes out. Your dad that night, the way he was that night. Not when he was.
Not when he was ill or anything like that.
Towards the end, but the way he was that night. I'm gonna hit the stopwatch. You got 30 seconds. You make that moment happen. You got 30 seconds to say what you never had a chance to say.
What, to him?
To him.
You just fucked me, bro. No, that's not what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Say good. Are you proud of me? That's it.
That's it.
That's it. Because I never heard it.
I think the answer would be.
I think it would.
Probably yes.
I never heard it.
Right.
Other people heard it. I never heard it.
And the way he showed it towards your kids, was the absolute way. I think that he knew how to show it to you.
Right. So many times in life, right? You're dad, and you have dad issues, right?
Yeah.
Right? We all do. Whatever it is. You all have your whatever. You can say nobody's perfect. No parents are perfect.
Right.
So what do you change about the way you parent your kids? You try to do the things for them that you didn't get.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So I hug my kids every time. I hug my son every day and tell him I love him.
Yeah.
I never got that. So that's probably how I overcome it.
Yeah. That's how we take the unfulfilled part of our lives and make them fulfilled.
Yeah. But that's the way. That's right. So, right, you can have a parent that's an alcoholic. You either become an alcoholic or you never touch it.
Right.
So, in my case, like the things that I did not like about my youth and my growing up, I tried to make better.
Yeah.
For my kids. Almost to a personal destruction. I argued with their mom. I grew up when my parents argued. Parents argue. That's just how it was, especially back then.
Yeah. And
to a point that I didn't want my kids to grow up in that.
Right.
And I was I thought that me being away made their life better.
It took the day-to-day arguing away. Right.
So I rather live with the pain of not having them every day than for them to see a shitty side and resent me.
That's fair. Listen, it's the ultimate what you feel is the ultimate personal sacrifice for the betterment of them.
Yeah.
My parents did divorce, and it was for the best. It was a horrible fucking situation.
You're saying that at 46, though.
Right.
At 16, you didn't feel that way.
No. I knew it, but I could admit it, or did I want to admit it at that age?
Right.
I saw the abuse in the house. But you're like, again, that's the generational difference between what would have been my grandparents, and then it's your parents, then it's my parents.
Right.
That generation from your parents back, there was no divorce.
No, you made it work.
You made it work.
Yep.
And from my parents' generation forward, it's been all about.
And it doesn't just stop at that. We're the replacement. You buy a new car. Oh, that doesn't work. Right. I get a new one.
Dude, there's an actual term out there, and people have put out books. They call it starter marriages. The first marriage is called the starter marriage. It's supposed to be till death do us part. That's what we say.
Right. Yeah.
But I don't know. Bottom line is we wanted better and try to give our kids better than what we had. Whatever the sacrifice was.
And like I said, I'd sacrifice, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying I'm a great person and I did this as like this heroic thing. I didn't do a heroic thing. I wasn't a good husband. I'm not a bad, I would take personal offense if somebody said I was a shitty father.
Right.
I was a great dad.
Right.
But I wasn't a great husband. And
I
to remove myself from that situation, I thought they would have a better relationship with me and would be better off than having me there.
And I could, and I don't want to say I'm an outsider because I'm not, but I'm outside enough, but I'm close enough to see that you have a special bond and a different bond with each one of your children, which makes it special, which you probably would not have had.
Right.
Or it would have been a lot tougher to achieve.
Yeah.
So.
And if you ask each of them, each of them will say the other one's a favorite.
Right. But I think that's because your bond is so strong with all of them.
Right.
That there truly is no favorite.
Right. If you get two of them there, they'll be like, oh, he favors Jern. And you get Jern and Summer, they'll be like, he definitely favors Boston.
Yeah.
And then if you get Jern and Boston, they'll be like, he always favors Summer. And my whole family says I favor Summer. But then Summer doesn't think so. She thinks it's Boston, and Boston thinks it's Jern. It's all
right. It's funny. It's perception, but that's where the outsider's perception can say, "No, he's got that bond with each one of them. It's just a different.
Yeah.
It's just a different type. Your bond with your son is going to be different than a bond with your daughters. Your bond with your firstborn, as opposed to the second two, is going to be different. She's your first.
Yeah.
The middle child,
and she's a she. There's two she's.
It's different. So, I don't know. I'm sure Boston doesn't listen.
No, this is
maybe the girls do
occasionally,
but they need to know from somebody else that sees it day in and day out that your bond with them is equal and special on every level, and that you love them all equally, and that's your life, man. That's you. If you died today, your mark you left on this world is you were a tremendous father and a very good friend, and everybody else can say good football coach too. So I might as well throw it in there. But you're a leader, and that's
as long as you didn't say asshole.
Well, you're an asshole too, but you're my asshole.
Yeah,
it's different.
Yeah. No, I know.
But
dude, you made me ugly cry, bro. That's not good.
So,
sorry. They're tough. No, listen, it's tough. And I don't have a problem. I'm an emotional guy.
Right.
Emotional.
People don't realize that.
Which is weird.
People see stoic Gmac who is going to talk shit if he has to. But that's more...
Well, that's the other spectrum. That's more of part of the
defense
emotion.
Mechanism of...
Well, no. That's not... It's another part of my emotions.
Right.
If you fire me up, that's a fucking real emotion that I always have.
Right.
I'm always... It's the Irish in me. I'm always this close to being really fired up.
Yep.
But it's really excitable. It's really... But that's the problem is it's not this.
They're hyper emotions.
It's up.
Peaks and valleys.
It's... I don't just have a little tear right now. I'm fucking...
Shocked.
So it's here.
Right.
Now, in 5 minutes, I can be here laughing.
Right.
So I'm just an emotional guy. But if you don't know me from the outside, you don't understand that that's what happens.
Right.
Like, you're like, oh, fuck that guy. He's just a dick. He always has. Yeah, but it's not always that way.
Right. You know what's funny is I see this at work. People that are closer to our age are like, oh, fucking George is miserable today. No, George is being George.
Yeah.
The younger guys at work look up to you. And you've taken on more of a father figure role with some of these guys. Like, I can easily say, Carlos fucking loves you. He looks up to you. And a lot of those guys in that generation take to you because it's like a leadership role. And you do things, you march to the beat of your own drummer where people are scared to.
Yeah.
And it's cool.
Well, I'm comfortable being me in certain ways.
Right.
And I've always said this, and my mom says it's my detriment. I rather die on my feet than ever live on my fucking knees.
Yeah.
And I don't work in an environment most people live on their fucking knees.
Yeah, you're right.
And that's to my own detriment. It is to my own detriment, but I couldn't. That would be the thing I could not do.
The thing is, you couldn't live with yourself.
No, I couldn't. I couldn't. You know, and I want people to understand one more leg of that.
Yeah.
And you could do it. You have the capability to do it. How much I cared for my nephews.
Absolutely.
How many places I've taken. You know, like, it's not just my kids.
I saw it in a simple message yesterday on Facebook with Troy and his wife all packed up and so ready to go.
Yeah.
Very simple message. I love you.
Yeah.
And a lot of grown men have problems saying those words to anybody. But you're not one of them.
No, because I never got it.
Right. So you want to make sure everybody else does because they need to know.
Yeah.
God forbid you weren't there tomorrow to tell them, or they weren't there for you to be told.
Right. Or I haven't seen the kid for like 8 years intermittently, and then he's back for like a year, and now he's on a great future again.
Yeah.
But it's just the point, like, they could tell you I was there throwing them batting practice. I took them snowboarding.
Right.
Whatever, playing wiffle ball, because Zach was like more closer to being my like a brother's age than my nephew.
Right.
Cougar, to the races, the things that I've tried to always establish and keep meaningful in their lives. Like Tanner. Tanner he's like kind of an introvert.
Yeah.
Everything that kid does, golfing, I took him.
Yeah.
Snowboarding, I took him. I couldn't get him to be a fucking Cowboys fan, but he loves to snowboard and golf.
Yeah.
So like that's the parts of me that I'm most proud of. Like,
right.
And I'm an idiot. I'm like a big teenager. They come around, I shoot them with, paintball guns back in the day. Dumb shit.
Guns and kneecaps.
Yeah, all that dumb stuff. Like, you can't tell me if I'm dead tomorrow in a casket, you're not telling everybody how I shot people with an airsoft gun when I looked at him like, bang.
It's like, honest, I could say 2 out of your 4 nephews have slept at and spent time at my house.
Yeah.
Tanner with Chris when they were younger. Cougar, when he was older,
right,
would come over and hang out with us.
Yeah.
And he'd swim. And I remember like a 2 or 3 day stretch where he didn't leave the house at all.
Right.
We were there just playing, swimming, freaking going out and getting chewing tobacco and doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
Eastern States, yeah.
Well, you guys banging on that fucking drum.
Oh my god.
Idiots, 2 idiots at 3 a.m. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you don't know me from the outside, and a lot of people don't, because I don't let a lot of people all the way in. Like this, like, I'm sitting here like, do I put this out there? Because this is putting me out there. But it's going out there. It is what it is. I don't give a fuck what people got to say.
It should be out there because, again,
it should.
We don't do, if we gave a fuck about what people thought about us, we probably
wouldn't be doing this
at all.
No, because jealousy leads to a lot of things, man.
Right.
We've heard a lot of shit and people talking shit.
Yeah.
But whatever, man. It is what it is. But you don't have people talk that highly of you if you don't really give a fuck.
Yeah. It's true.
You
gotta be causing a reaction.
And I try to, and believe it or not, even though I'm a fucking always raring to go for a fight, I try to be a peacekeeper too at times.
Yeah, I've seen you do it enough. again, in situations where I won't let go of shit and you have.
Yeah.
So.
Or where you said, I can't believe this is happening, but you're the voice of reason right now.
Yeah, no shit.
That's happened before.
So.
All right, ready to move along?
Let's do it.
All right. All right, this week's over and under. Number 1, crumb cake.
Oh, way under. Love a fucking crumb cake.
Now, do you like it with the white powder on it or both? Like the sin? I like either one.
Either one, but a good Entenmann's crumb cake.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the shit right there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so we agree on that one. Underrated. Highly underrated.
Yes.
Number 2, chapstick.
Over.
Overrated?
Yeah, never use it. And you're a big proponent of it. You use it all the time.
No, I used to never use it.
Oh, but you do now.
And only in the last month or so have I started using it.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why. Probably because there's no girl kissing these lips.
I don't like the fucking greasy.
Yeah. I don't. Only very recently have I used it, but I think it was because I had like when they get dry and they like really kind of crack.
Yeah.
That's it. But it has to be flavored. I can't use when people use just like
wax.
The clear shit or whatever.
Let me fucking suck on a candle for a minute.
Yeah. Number 3. I don't know another way to say it. Throw blankets.
Like the
stuff you keep on your chair, football blanket.
Super underrated.
Way underrated.
Dude, when I had COVID, I did not want to be in the bed under the covers, but I had like fucking 6 throw blankets on me.
Yeah.
They're softer, they're comfy. You can move them to where you want them.
Do you have, quote unquote, a blanket that you specifically use all the time?
Not anymore. I did as a kid. It was something that was made for me when I was a baby.
I don't mean like a blankie, like a baby blanket.
No. This was like a full-length quilt, like not a quilt, but like a Afghan that I used to
I see
use
what
all
you're
the
doing.
time.
You were doing this when you were explaining it. So does that mean it was a certain feel to you that you liked?
Yeah, it was like a yarn knit fucking full blanket.
Right.
It was awesome.
I have a Yankee blanket that's very fucking dear. Like if I go in a casket tomorrow, put my Yankee blanket on me.
Okay.
Because I wear it all the time.
Where it's on your bed?
It's on my bed. Like if only when it gets super cold do I sleep under the comforter.
Right.
I usually go on top with the Yankee blanket.
Okay.
But yeah, that's and it's one of them rare ones. It's probably like 20 years old, literally. Or 22 years old, something like that. But it was like 5.5 feet.
Yeah.
And like 3 or 4 feet wide. It was one. Remember when you used to get the fleece blankets, but they were never long enough?
Right.
You'd have to go corner to corner. This you could put over your feet and it would still come up to your chest.
Oh, so it's a perfect size.
So it's perfect size. And you can't ever find another. Nothing will match that quality of it. I looked at them, and then the ones they make now aren't like the same type.
There's a blanket that I had on my bed as a kid that was like, I don't want to say it was felt because felt is a fucking very firm fabric.
Yeah.
But it was kind of rough.
Yeah.
And it had like the satin
edges
sewn on all the way around.
Yeah.
Okay. But my grandparents always had those velour blankets.
Yeah.
And I always liked the velour blankets better.
Well, they would always be like, you'd have the sheet, the velour, and then the comforter.
Right.
It'd be the in between.
Yeah.
Yep. That was, and they still get them in some hotels once in a while.
Once in a while, like Carly, we have a down comforter, and I kick it off.
Too fucking hot.
Way too hot. Yeah. Always too hot.
Yeah. All right, number 4, Italian bread. Like a good Italian bread for you go to wherever you go and get it. Like,
underrated.
Oh, I think highly underrated. It's a little crunchy on the outside, but the center's soft.
Yeah.
Some butter and dipping that. And
you gotta get like this with the semolina wheat on the bottom.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the shit.
Dude, I remember probably I think it was Great American back in the day had like a good Italian bread, like odd long.
And it has to come in a brown bag, and it has to come in a paper
bag. Yeah. And I think I could hammer a whole one of them.
Dude, in high school, in elementary school, Pesch's bread, those sections of bread you buy for 15 cents, I bought like 10 of them when we had like a ravioli day.
So you and I had this conversation a while ago. I don't know if you remember this. When I was wrestling and cutting weight, I would get those pieces of bread.
Yeah.
I'd butter it, and then put the like pink Russian dressing on it from school.
You and fucking Blaze did the same thing. He
Yeah.
would dip the bread in that shit.
That I don't know what that dressing was, but it was delicious.
It was like fucking.
It was supposed to be like Russian or
it was
Thousand
like government
Island.
Russian, yeah. Came in vats.
Yeah, it was so good. You butter the bread and dip it in that stuff, or put like a squirt or two on there. It was so good.
Yeah.
All right, number 5, mouthwash.
Overrated, I think.
Yeah, I mean,
rarely do I have it at the house, and now if I do, I might. But no, it's not even the same thing. No, because I use the Efferent tablets for my partial. I take it out to clean it every night. But no, a good old brushing is usually good enough for me.
Yeah, I use mouthwash, but I think I agree. I think it's overrated. Right. Usually, it's like it fucking stings the shit out of your mouth. Oh. Remember the original like yellow one?
The old yellow.
It was like it was just straight antiseptic.
Tastes like shit. Yeah. Like my breath, it can't make your breath smell better. It tastes horrible.
No, I know it can make your breath smell way worse. Vegemite, remember that shit?
Oh, God, that was bad.
That was like somebody stomped on your tongue with dog shit on their boots.
That was a Gmac special, I think.
Well, that was because
yeah.
But that was because it's a fucking what specialty
Australian.
food? Yeah, specialty food. Like what do they call that when it's a
specialty food?
No. But it's like people think very highly of it as a food.
Oh, a delicacy.
A delicacy.
Yeah, it's fucking
in Australia.
garbage, bro.
Yeah.
Ugh.
And I got one more for you.
All right.
Over or under? Overrated or underrated? Aaron Judge.
Ooh, boy. Oh man.
And we're talking complete player here.
I can't say push, huh?
No push. While you're thinking, I'm going to say overrated.
Okay.
I think he's at his peak, and I'm not saying, but I think he's at his peak. Yeah, he's a 300 hitter. I think this year was his peak. He's 30. He's probably got 1 or 2 years where he's
by 33 you start to see decline.
Yeah.
Unless you're pools. But
here's the thing: in the biggest moments, he doesn't come through.
Yeah,
to be a full, complete player where you're not overrated, you have to perform when the lights are the brightest.
Yeah, I said it about Bonds until he finally did it the 1 year. Yeah, at regular season, Aaron Judge, I mean, the guy, he walks 100 times in an era where most people strike out 200, and he does that too. But his on-base percentage is great. He's a good fielder.
Yeah.
He's a cannon
got
for an arm.
Good arm, yep.
He's a very patient hitter. It's got to be tough for a guy his height because his strike zone is gigantic.
Yep.
This probably will be his peak year.
Well, this is how I knew we would debate this a little bit. If you got him or Bryce Harper in right field right now, right. Who do you take?
Him or Bryce Harper?
Isn't Bryce Harper in right outfield?
Yeah. So Aaron Judge.
You would take Aaron Judge over Harper.
Injury history alone. Harper seems to miss 30 or 40 games a year.
Aaron Judge missed like a season and a half in the last 3.
Did he really?
Oh, yeah.
I keep thinking Stan's always hurt.
Yeah, but Judge was hurt like a couple of years ago. And I'm just saying, like, you're in the playoffs right now. You need either Harper or Judge. Who do you take?
Reese Hoskins.
I'm just saying, like.
No, I know what you're saying.
That's where the overrated part. Like, I think sometimes Yankee fans, because we're from New York, you get blinded by, like, well, he hit. And I'm not saying he didn't hit home runs or whatever.
I have an issue saying underrated because he does everything you need your marquee player to do.
Right.
But if you want to throw in the postseason, I mean, he hasn't won a title yet. He's been in the league now for
7 years?
17, 18, 19, 26 years.
Right.
So, all right, I guess I'll have to go slightly overrated on that.
Okay.
Because they haven't won with him.
Okay. You don't have anything else, right?
No.
Okay, I do have one more section. It isn't the 50s. It isn't the 90s. We are going back to the 2017 Junior Sawyers season.
Okay. So you said So you said before that we would get to this on Gmac throwback.
So today we're watching the game and they score, and for whatever reason, I don't know what the reason was. Oh, they were going for an extra point. They hadn't made an extra point, and it dawned on me: we kicked extra points at that age.
Did we do that on juniors?
Yeah, we've done it on juniors. You could rush them on seniors, but on juniors you couldn't rush the kicker.
Right, that's right.
And Jemiah would kick.
Yes. He was a soccer player, so he was fairly efficient.
Yeah. Or McCoy would kick occasionally, but that was simply the most dominant team in the history of that league. Still to date.
What was the total points against for the year?
287 to 26.
Yeah, that's pretty fucking hard.
And that's, let's see. So, weeks 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7, Boston played a half a game.
Yeah, because we were up so big at the half that there was no need to put it back out.
Right. So week 1, we win 39-0 over Ellenville. Week 2, we win 26-20 over Fallsburg. Week 3, we win 28-0 over Rondout. Week 4, we win 31-0 over Red Hook. Then Ellenville comes to our house and talks shit at the scale. We win 40-0. Then we go to then Red Hook comes and we win 46-0. Then we by virtue of that, we're hosting a home playoff game. Red Hook comes back for a playoff game.
Right.
3 plays on offense later, we're up 21-0.
Right.
We win that game 45-0, and then we win 32-6 in the championship game. And then that team, pretty much that team.
Who was that? Who was the championship against?
Rondout.
That was.
We were coming off of a championship year.
Right.
Then that team basically, with a couple kids from Red Hook, go on and win the All-Star game.
So take out Fallsburg, we gave up 6 points all year.
And a championship game in the fourth quarter.
When we were way ahead already.
Yeah.
Dominance.
Dominant. And that's what is our freshman team now for the most part.
Right.
For the most part, that's a good chunk nucleus of that is from that team.
Yeah.
It's probably one of the most wildest. Like, I honestly think they'd mollywop the Outlaws right now.
That junior team, they couldn't have. I think the junior team could beat a senior team.
Yeah.
On a lot of levels.
I think that's the team that if we would have went to the national championship where we would have got Ezra, Dillon, and Griffin back, that could have been a national championship teim. Because we were that good.
Yeah.
We were literally that good.
We clicked on all cylinders.
Right. I think at 9 years old, he ran for 1,300 or 1,400 yards that year and threw for like 480 yards.
Right.
With 19 touchdowns. McCoy had 20 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Jemiah had like 7. Gabe Osfeld had like 5.
Yeah.
Hernandez had like 4 or 5. You know what I mean? JoJo had an interception, pick 6.
That's right.
You know what I mean? We had 5 pick 6s that year. Think about that.
Jemiah went crazy with pick 6.
Oh, no, we had more than that. Jemiah had 5.
Had 5 picks.
Right.
Yeah.
He had 7 total touchdowns, 2 on offense, 5 picks. McCoy had a pick 6. JoJo had a pick 6. Miles was dominating people on the inside of the field, on the inside, right?
Yeah.
McCoy ended up with like 890 yards rushing. It was crazy.
Played outstanding linebacker.
No, he was up on the senior team. Though.
Oh, he was. That's right. Oh, that's right. He was up that year with Tom.
No, that was the year.
That was Gabe.
Gabe Osfeld was dominant, sideline to sideline, and if it made it to him.
Yeah.
Because and we would bring Boston, and kind of like what he plays now, he'd be a rover. We'd bring him in and let him roll all over.
Who was DJ, or it was JoJo, and who was the other D end?
Hernandez.
Jonathan, that's right.
Who plays outside linebacker really well at school now.
Yeah. Because
he's a great form tackler.
And he's got a great motor. He's got such a strong lower half.
Right, and then we had Jemiah and Jemiah and McCoy as corners,
Right.
where speed and athleticism like crazy.
And the most underrated player on that team, on that line, was probably Samantha Sano.
Right.
Held it down
as a center. Yeah. And very good.
Yeah. Fallsburg, I'm trying to remember that 26-20 game. What?
So we open up the year in Ellenville. Like, I can remember this like yesterday.
Oh, that was
We're down in Ellenville, and that place it was their first ever game. That's that picture.
That picture right there.
That picture right there.
Yep.
So, yeah, this one. Wait. I can't. There.
Back there.
In the video.
Yeah.
Right there.
Yep.
There it is. All right. So, in that game, we go down there, and it's their first in existence, and
they're talking all
sorts of shit before the game starts. I remember it was so loud on their sideline, and they're screaming, "Wash them up!"
Yeah.
Remember, chanting, full house, full house. Fence line was packed, everything was there, and I pull the kids in together, and I go, "You hear that? You hear that shit over there?" By halftime, I want to hear crickets.
That's when Boston had the arm back here coiled and absolutely fucking unleashed a wicked stiff arm.
Still today, you say that was the best
violent.
one. Yeah.
It was.
So by halftime, it was like 26-0 us.
Right.
By halftime.
Crickets.
And I remember being in the end zone. I said, "Listen, we're doing a good job. We got to stay on our blocks, blah, blah, blah. Anybody got anything?" And Miles Coons raised his hand. I go, "What's up, Miles?" He goes, "Hey, coach, I hear crickets." And I just kind of snapped me out of it, like coaching, like the coaching part of it. And I looked up, and the crowd was gone. They'd all packed their bags, and the route was on. So we start there. The next week, we get to the game early in the morning. It's foggy as hell, and it turned into be like 105 degrees out. Remember?
That's right.
And we were up in that game like multiple times by 2, almost 3 touchdowns. Like we were up like 12-0. Then they got to 7. Then we got to like 18. Then they got to 18-12, like on a fumble. Then we got to 26. We got to 26-12, and then Miles comes out with heat exhaustion.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, like they kind of mounted a little bit of a comeback, but we stopped them. We got like a turnover late in the game. And that was it. That was like the most challenge we had, and it was kind of like we were underprepared.
Right.
Then the next week we go to Rondout. That's where the whole me and Boston fighting happens.
Yes.
Not fighting, but him not throwing the ball and me coaching point.
Yep.
But we were prepared because we had all the coolers loaded with ice towels and everything to keep them cooled down.
Yeah. And
that was another hot game.
Balls hot that day.
Yeah, and that was his coming out party because week 1 he threw a touchdown, but he only ran for like 30 yards.
Yeah.
Week 2 he ran, maybe like 30 or 40 yards. But that week 3 game, McCoy, for whatever, he got hit pretty hard. He wasn't like really willing to go out there and run too much. And Boston ran for 212 yards and like 3 touchdowns in that game. And then from that time on, that's where the offense shifted a little bit, and we started climbing. Yeah. Then we go to Red Hook, and we blow their doors off, 31-0. McCoy's sick that week, so the load goes back on him.
Even then, though, you guys had your little tiff in Rondout.
But can I be fair?
And I pulled him to the side, and I'm like, "You're good?" He's like, "I'm fine." And he was.
But can I be fair? Did I not do that with Derek Dorn? Did I not do that with TJ?
Everybody.
Did I not do it any quarterback?
Right.
You're the guy on the field. Like, there's a bigger responsibility. There just is. You don't go out there and you have to be the quote unquote coach on the field.
Our quarterbacks have always been on our good teams. Our quarterbacks have always been the ones that everybody turned to. And I can still remember the year we ran the summer camp. TJ comes up on his bike, and he wants to play. So everybody's fucking talking in the huddle. "Hey, shut up! Only I talk."
Yeah.
And then led the team down the field. Like all he could do.
Yeah, like he just came in. Yep. "I'm talking now. Shut up."
Yep.
And crickets. And that was as an underclassman, younger guy to older players, right? So then we beat Red Hook in Red Hook. Ellenville comes to us. That's where they talk to shit, 40-0.
Yeah.
You know, I can pick out plays in every one of them games.
Right.
The Wolverine touchdown.
Yeah.
You know, like that team it had such character. That's when you would play the music and they'd all be dancing with different dances on the sidelines and going crazy, warming up, doing the stinky leg and all kinds of shit.
Well, that's when whatchamacallit was big. It just hit the video game.
What is it? Come on, what is it?
All the characters had the weird dances and shit.
Fortnite,
yeah.
Yeah.
They were all doing their dances, the Fortnite stuff.
Yep.
Specific, I don't want to say games, moments in time from seasons that I can recall. There was a night game. It was a Saturday night game in Taconic. They wouldn't let Mason Winnie
play. Yeah. By like a half a pound. Yeah.
Did we weigh him in again at halftime?
Yeah, and he came back at the half.
I think that was that the same night as the sitar solo?
It was cold and it snowed.
It snowed. Yep. I remember that night having Zach on the sideline.
Yep. That's where Bucci comes on a blitz.
Drills the guy.
And we win 7-6.
Right.
Drills him, fumble, recovers it on like the 2-yard line.
Yep. That game will always stick out in my mind. The Monday Night Rain game.
Against Rondo.
No, the Monday Night Rain game against the Titans.
Oh, that one, yeah.
In Kingston.
The rain game against Rondo was one where it was coming up from the ground, up, sideways, under the tent, everything. We couldn't stay dry.
That's when we came from the golf tournament, I think.
No, that was at Rondo.
Oh, that was at Rondo. Oh, that was another rain game. That was a shitty day.
That was the Keith Hartram 80-yard touchdown.
That was, yes. Pretty much all the Red Hook games.
If you remember that Titans game you're talking about, if you remember, Martin Lopez, on like the third play of the game, shut them down.
Because
they had that super athletic wing guy, and I sent him all over the field.
He would switch back and forth.
I said, you cover.
Lined up.
And I said, and if they go to throw, if they present like they're going to throw a quick pass to him, bubble pass, I said, I want you to light him up. I said, you make a break on that play. If they beat us deep, that's on me.
Right.
They threw that. That kid squared up, and Martin fucking lit him up.
Oh, another
That's where Dave Dennis and all them picked.
That's right.
Him on the show. Hi, I'm Dave Dennis. Who are you?
That's right. Another hit that was down in Kingston. Nate Cantwell.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Around midfield, he absolutely took this kid out of his freaking shoes.
Yeah. Tavin Rell did it to somebody too. Remember?
Yep. A lot of good times, man. A lot of good teams. That 17 team was a special team.
That 17 team, we were coming off a championship, so we knew it. We didn't know how good we were.
Right.
And we were good. Like, really good.
And I've said, it's times over the years, we were spoiled as coaches at times because we had good teams.
So you and I just had this discussion, right? Just a couple days ago. If you look at the teams that started with us as juniors and followed all the way up, they're the most dominant teams.
Yep, we took Jimmy and Nick Dennis
and TJ
as 7-year-olds.
Right. Yep,
and had them all the way through.
All the way through, and then that was and then Bucci, because remember I was coaching both for a while,
right? And
then Matt and Sean and them guys, and they came all the way through.
Yeah.
So that group was the super group. That group was the one winning couple years in the last 30.
And Bean, you got Bean in year 2.
Year 2. I didn't. His first year, I let it go.
Yeah. And
then I was like, I cannot I can't do it.
Right.
If he's gonna play, I got to be there because I can't. You know what was happening? I would want, we're doing stretching, but the other coaches that were coaching with me at the time wouldn't let me, you can't handle stretching so I can watch my kid play. So I was like, I can't do it anymore. Right. And if he's going to play this sport, he needs to be coached right. I can't just leave him at other people's, other people. And then, 8, 9, that whole group though, we had them for 4 years. So
what I like, it was even when we had reserves, like our bench guys, always had a moment in the sun.
All of them
did. Yeah. Xavier over in Red Hook.
Yeah.
And shut down. Came in and played shut down DN for a whole drive.
Yeah. Because he just did what I told him to do.
He stayed home.
Stayed home. And the plays came running right back to him. Ricky Ryan making that huge play.
Yep.
Joey Valenti making a couple interceptions, just being coached up. And they're my they're my most favorite moments of coaching is when the light switch comes on for a kid. You teach him, and then bang, the fumble.
Val recovering a fumble
in the championship
game. Yep.
Yeah, so they're the moments, right? You get them. All that stuff. Michael Binder on that long touchdown run.
That's right.
He just barely couldn't get it done, and then bang, he got it done. So they're the moments. But that 17 team.
RJ in Tennessee.
Yes, recovering. Yeah,
as a
fireball.
As a 10-year-old, fireballs running. Recovering those kicks.
Onside kick, right? It kept us in a game that was very close to being not a game anymore.
Yeah.
So it's those moments that you live for. Like today, I would see Val and say, "Oh, remember that fumble you recovered?"
Yep.
Like, it's that stuff. But that specific team. I had already had this down for the Gmac throwback before we went to today's game.
Yeah.
But when they lined up for an extra point, it just really dawned on me like the shit we did with that team. Like people couldn't believe how much we threw.
Right.
He had 7 touchdown passes.
Right.
And 12 rushing touchdowns. How many people throw 7 touchdowns? How many people throw 7 passes at 8 years old?
Not a lot.
You know what I mean? So. And I'm not saying that because it's my son. Just in general, like we did it with TJ at that age too.
We did it with Derek.
We did it with Derek too. So it's just
Caleb Ballou.
Yep.
Had a
but he was older. He wasn't.
He was
9 or 8. Yeah. So it's just that thing. Like you look back at that particular year, that's the single most dominant team there ever was. Salmi was a quarterback his very first year when he was 7.
And he threw a conversion
in the championship
game.
Yep. Yeah, when TJ was knocked out for a play. Yeah. And listen, Matt did a really good job. The defense we flew to the ball that year. Matt had them. They were there. They were playing. So that was a complete team.
Understood assignment football.
Right, and we practiced it that way. Do your job. Like that was literally our thing. Be here. If you're here and you don't make a play, at least you're there.
Right.
If you're not there because you didn't listen and you don't make the play, how do you think coach is going to react to that?
Right. Yeah. Listen, if we tell you to do something and it doesn't work out, that's on us.
Right.
But if we tell you something and you don't do it and you don't make the play,
exactly.
Now it's on you.
Yeah, now it's on you. So.
Yeah.
This next segment is sponsored by Presto. Yeah, so I just thought that'd be cool to go back, and this was my choice all along the 2017 throwback team for the juniors because we were very much a part of that. That was a foregone conclusion by halftime. We were dominating that game.
Yeah,
that was the deep touchdown from Boston Jemiah that put the game away. But the biggest play of that game was probably Boston's touchdown to McCoy. Because Rondell was starting to get a little momentum.
Yeah.
And it was only 6-0. And then, boom, we hit that big play.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen. So, thanks for dragging me through the mud today. Emotional fucking ringer over here.
Yeah, I got to actually be the interviewer and ask the questions today.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
So again, Coog, next week we'll go back to other stuff. But we had two back-to-back introspective episodes that, listen.
Well, at least it was only a segment, not like an entire show.
Right. People dug it. And I think and listen, a lot of times you want the curtain pulled back a little bit.
Yeah. I listened back to our thing when you talked about the insecure 12-year-old.
Yeah.
That still got me. And I knew it. I knew it was coming, but it still got me, bro. Because I've never heard you verbalize it.
The very, very sad.
And now he's trying to not talk about it. I'm trying to divert.
Yeah. A very sad thing happened this week. I listen to a lot of wrestling podcasts and whatnot.
Yeah.
Kevin Nash.
Yeah.
I listened to it on Tuesday, getting ready to go to work. And his son was on, and they were talking about he is in a band, and they were having this big music festival.
Right.
In California. His son died Wednesday, at the age of 26.
Really?
Yeah.
The next day?
The next day.
Any particular...
Nothing's been released yet. The family just asked for, respect and privacy at this time. But 26 years old. Terrible. I know they had at one point a very public altercation to where they both got arrested for it.
Right.
They had a fight somewhere in public. And Kevin Nash, big man, he's 6'10", and the kid is like, I saw a family photo. The kid was about 6'9". He was a big boy too. But yeah, 26 years old, way too young.
Yeah, that's way too young.
And he passed away on Scott Hall's birthday.
Ugh.
So, Big Sexy had a very, very bad day.
Yeah, that's not a good.
So I'm sure you don't listen, Kevin, but heart goes out to you, big guy, because that's a lot.
Yeah,
on many levels.
That's tough. All right, what do you got going on this week?
Yeah.
Jets game in an hour or so. You'll be watching them. Hopefully they win.
I'm hoping. We got the Jets. I got to stop by and take a look at Max's car a little closer, quick, and then relaxation for tonight and back to the grind tomorrow.
Yeah, yay.
You?
Game at New Paltz on Wednesday. And then I think the Outlaws are off next week.
Right.
I'm not sure. In the huddle right now is up in the air, man. I mean, I'll have a show. I don't care if it's just me. It could be anywhere from the varsity football coach to Boston to the Booster Club president to the Outlaws president. I'll get somebody on tomorrow night. It's just a weird time right now to try and land
right
anybody necessarily up. You know what I mean? So we'll see.
I do,
but it'll be on live 7:30 on Monday nights.
Yep.
I got to get you on, but I like that Monday night 7:30 time slot. And I know that's difficult for you to get on right now.
I mean, you can do that if you want to keep that slot. We'll do it after first of the year.
Yeah, I don't foresee that lasting that long. Like when the season's over, I think we'll move on.
We can get me in on a Saturday night special.
Yeah. Yep.
But
we'll figure it out.
Love to.
All right, take us home, big fella.
All right, for Gmac, this is Winnie. This has been the Outlaw Blitz podcast, and as always, take it easy.